Welcome back, listeners, to How Good Was It, where we review the movies of our past to see how they hold up in our modern times. And I will remind all of you listeners that we are on YouTube as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the full length audio podcast where we go in deep dive style into the plot of this movie, capped off by our personal reviews. So if you care to do so, dig into the archives, RSS feed, favorite streaming platforms. We go in deep into each and every movie that we review. We are at the final leg of our Tim Burton month. It has been a hoot. Hello, Scott.
Hey, welcome back, Jim.
And hello, Dana.
What the fuck did you two weirdos get me into?
So as you just heard, I think we've broke the millennial of the month, or of the group, I should say, with this month. And I thought we would. It's been a very interesting month so far, and we're capping it off with the Tim Burton vehicle, Ed Wood. And it's been an interesting month, to say the least. It's had its ups, it's had its downs, and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, man. This is the second half. We have watched this movie. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for Dana's review. The sooner we get to it, the sooner we will hear it, man. Wow. Let's go. Let's start off with some facts and figures, because I know the wizard of the bunch, Scott, that is what he is here for. That's what he is good at. So please give it up, Scott. What do you got for us as far as Ed Wood?
Well, this movie was a flop. It was made for $18 million.
Wow.
And its gross was almost $6 million. That is it. That is a flop. I thought I remember it doing okay in the box office. I know I saw it in the theater and I was excited to see it. It is his best reviewed film. And it's the only film that he's ever directed that someone won an Oscar for acting in. Martin Landau did win Best Supporting Actor for this movie. He considers it his favorite film, his best film is Ed Wood. He thought it was a very personal film. The relationship between Ed Wood and Bela Lugosi reminded him of his relationship with Vincent Price. So.
Dana's about to walk off the set. He's just like, I can't with this. I can't with you guys and these freaking choices of yours. Oh man, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
No, that's really about it. It was a flop at the box office. I did not remember it being a flop.
I don't either, man. I did watch this in the theater when it came out. To be honest, at the time, I didn't know much about Ed Wood, the man himself, other than the movie that he's most famed for, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
And my first exposure to that movie or Ed Wood was as a teenager. I was very much into like a lot of punk rock bands when I was younger. And I remember there were certain bands or certain group members of bands, and they would wear these old movie T-shirts. And the poster for Plan 9 from Outer Space was pretty popular. And there was an artist. I'm also a big comic book geek, as I keep reminding our audience. One of my favorite artists is an artist of the name Drew Friedman. And he's done a lot of comic books as well as a lot of magazine illustrations. And one of his favorite subject matter or subject topics or whatever you want to call it, because my grammar is shit, as you can tell, it are the characters from these Ed Wood movies, Tor Johnson, Vampira, and he drew them amazingly. But I would see these characters in his drawings, and I didn't know who the hell they were. I just know that they were so weird looking. And it wasn't until I discovered who Ed Wood was and I watched a couple of his movies that it just clicked. I have to go to Dana as ASAP, as soon as possible. I need your take, because you're bursting at the seams to say something about this movie. We exposed you. I don't think you had heard of this movie before we brought it up.
Well, only in IMDb, but I never watched it. I wasn't familiar with the director. I had not a clue. I went in as a innocent puppy into this. Like, you know what? These two gentlemen that I decided to do a podcast with, they wouldn't lead me astray.
Oh, young man, you never learned your lesson, do you?
Yeah.
You know what the worst part about this?
Oh boy,
especially with this movie, as we try to go through into this, like I really started siding with like kind of like the Baptist at the end of just like my friend Scott and my friend June. They just need prayer. That's all they need.
God in their life.
They need you know just a little bit closer to a higher being, no matter who it is. And I don't know, dude. Like,
Dana, did you watch any of the actual Plan 9 from outer space? Did you see any Ed Wood real Ed Wood scenes?
I'm sure this movie didn't give him incentive to do so.
I definitely, I wasn't excited to, but obviously when you guys challenge me in such ways, I try to look at some of the old stuff.
Boy.
Weird enough, you could find Glenn and Glenda, and you could find it's literally like right on Wikipedia. You could see some of these movies, and it's like the full form of the movies. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to just like look at it and watch it, but it was kind of like this movie where I was just like, yeah, man, I'm going to need some time before I can just watch this.
I think it would make you appreciate the film just a little bit more, just for how they nailed the scenes and the acting of the scenes from George Animal Steele doing Tor Johnson, or Bill Murray playing his character, Bunny, his character.
Bunny Beckridge.
They really did nail that in the movie. But yeah,
Martin Landau was exceptional.
Yeah.
As Bela Lugosi, man, he was exceptional. I don't care what you say, Dana, you have to at least give it that.
And I mean, Bill Murray, Bill Murray's always funny, even though he has very little things to do in this movie. When they're baptizing him and he says, sure. It is just hilarious to me.
Yeah, man, it was a stellar cast, but man, let's get into the plot. Let's go. Let's go full speed ahead. The movie starts out. Where does it start out? Because of course I already forgot.
I don't think Dana wants to say, but it starts out with he wants no part of this episode. Pretty much, he's just waiting to give his review at the end. Yes. It starts out with Jeffrey Jones, which doesn't hold up to 2024 because Jeffrey Jones is so the principal from Ferris Bueller is playing a psychic in the film, and he's telling the story of Ed Wood to start it out. He's half out of a coffin telling us a story of Ed Wood. The opening credits are pretty cool. I mean, it's a graveyard. Each tombstones are the names of the actors. It's classic Burton, except for lacking the Danny Elfman. This is the first movie he did without Danny Elfman, and it kind of showed. I miss Elfman's score.
While I did think of that, I did notice that from the credits, and as the movie went along, though, I was like, I don't know. I think he made the right choice. I don't know if it was that Danny Elfman wasn't available. I doubt that, because
they had a bit of a falling out. I had read that in Mars Attacks that during Edward Scissorhands, I believe, or no, it was Nightmare Before Christmas. Remember, Nightmare Before Christmas, he wanted Robert Smith to do that. And then Robert Smith turned him down, and then he took Danny Elfman. I don't know if that was what it was, but they said in the filming of that, or something to do with that, they had a bit of a clash, and they didn't work again together until Mars Attacks. So they took a few years off.
I think I saw part of that documentary for Nightmare Before Christmas. I think part of it was the whole speaking voice thing, because remember he was
for sure.
He only did the singing and he didn't do the.
That would piss me off too. Yeah.